Okay, so now we're going to discuss what are the effects or common factor that affects the transmission of light coming from the sun. So number one, we have what we call transmitted. So transmitted happens when the light coming from the sun directly transferred to one object. Particularly, this kind of object was transparent. So a transparent object is considered a type of object that can be able to transfer the light or any other interaction from the other side down to the other part of this object. So particularly those transparent materials are like glass and mirrors, wherein their composition was composed of different materials that can be able to transfer light from one side to the another. So only transparent materials can transmit and reflect light directly coming from the sun. So the next one was translucent material. So particularly when we have translucent material, it is half as transparent material. The only difference is that on a translucent material, the clearliness of an object is not that 100%. So there are some blurry parts of that object that cannot be able to transmit the light directly coming from the sun. So simply, when the object is translucent and the light coming from the sun was transmitted directly to it, some of the lights was reflected. That's why the effect of the light coming from the sun that is transmitted and absorbed by this translucent material was refracted. So when you say refracted, some of the lights was blocked and cannot transmit directly from one side or to the original side down to the other side. Okay, another example or another type of material was opaque. So opaque materials, those are type of materials that is already hard and cannot see the other side of that particular object, wherein it cannot be transmitted or reflected the light coming from the sun. So once that the sun directly gave the light coming from it to that particular opaque object, the object can only absorb but cannot transfer or bounce back the light coming from the sun. So for example is a book. Once that a book absorb the light coming from the sun, it cannot be transmitted to the other side. It can only be absorbed. So again, we have three different types of materials. Number one is opaque, number two is translucent, and number three is transparent. So again, transparent materials can only be transmitted and reflected, or translucent. Some of the light is transmitted but some of it is refracted or bounced back and black. And the third one is opaque, wherein the light can only be absorbed but cannot be reflected.